got started in left field as he gets the DH. And a swing and a miss. Before the division rivals get here, Bubic.
We'll get it started. Here with my boy, Kris Bubic, Kansas City Royals. For the people that don't know, give them a little background for who we're with today.
Thanks, Nick. Like you said, my name is Kris Bubic. I grew up in the Bay Area, specifically San Jose, California. Went to college at Stanford, played baseball there. Obviously, a great school, great academics, great place to be, surrounded by a lot of cool people. Drafted by the Kansas City Royals in 2018, played in the minor leagues 2018, 2019, and then 2020 with the COVID season, I actually got called up to the big leagues. And been a little up and down ever since. I've had some time in the minors, but I've gotten to a good point. A good spot where I feel healthy. I feel confident, like I belong, and excited to see what's ahead.
I still remember your debut, bro. I was watching it with Drew Mount out in PA. Do you have obviously you debuted in 2020, interesting time. Do you have a welcome to the big leagues moment or an MLB debut type story of when that first season, or just since then that you were like, yeah, this is the show?
Yeah, so 2020, obviously a little weird just because there were no fans. So it took a little bit of the excitement away from what would usually be a big league debut.
Yeah.
But the end of that season, we're facing the Tigers, Miguel Cabrera in their lineup. It was the last game I pitched that year. And I threw, I think it was a 3-2 fastball, but
he
hit it over the batter's eye at Kauffman, probably 450 feet. So that was a nice welcome moment from a guy like that who's a Hall of Famer. And then the next year, we went to Anaheim. Shohei.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
This one is on his highlight reel because I think it's his second longest home run in his career. I threw a 2-2 changeup that wasn't very good, and
you got him the other time though, right?
Yeah, I did get him. I did get him later in the
did.
game on the same pitch that I executed a little bit better, but that particular at bat I didn't get that ball back. So, but it's if you're gonna give it up, I guess you want to give it up to the Hall of Famers.
Babe
I'm not
Ruth,
gonna
bro.
complain about that. So. But yeah, those are two moments that definitely stand out. Those guys are exceptional talents, Hall of Famers, and like I said, if you're going to give it up, why not them?
No one better. Yeah. He did K him though too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. He's not. Yeah. So obviously you've dealt with some injuries since you've debuted, but with that, how have you approached dealing with the injuries, but also your rehab and off-season goals with that? So. Is there anything that you changed since dealing with injuries, or is there anything noticeable that you changed with your routine, and how have you approached your off season, but just the rehab process?
Yeah, so I think this started actually all the way back towards the end of 22, where I didn't really have a good year in 22. I wasn't throwing the ball very well. So at the end of the year, I decided to change my mechanics a little bit, just pitch solely out of the stretch. And
I remember that.
For me, that kind of helped simplify things. Help me lock back into the zone and move athletically down the mound, move faster and whatnot. So I've actually carried that until now. I still do that. I still pitch out of the stretch. It's still simple for me. It's still easy to repeat and get in a good position when you're moving down the mound. But I think in terms of the injury, it's never fun to get hurt.
No doubt.
TJs are what they are. Like obviously a good portion of pitchers have had
everyone's
experiences
getting them now,
before
bro.
with kind of how we incentivize velocity and stuff, which are probably the main culprits. There's many factors, but yeah, it's there's never a good time to get hurt.
No doubt.
But it was fun to kind of turn the page after a rough 22 and go into 23. Have a couple start sample. Okay, I know this is something that can work. I changed my mechanics, changed my stuff a little bit, and then the injury happened. So then, yeah, you're sitting on it for a year, but you attack rehab, like you would any other task. You compete, you go out at full force, and you come out stronger at the end of it if you handle business kind of during the rehab process. So I think for me, understanding now that okay, this is what it takes to be healthy. This is where my mindset needs to be when I come back and attack hitters. And I think that helped me, carry into last year and then this year as well.
So last year you also started coming out of the pen a little bit more. So obviously been a starter your whole life. What was that change like? And was there anything different about that routine, or just how did you approach that change?
So having a little time, I was the first half of the season building up, going through the bullpen progression, going through the live hitter progression, and then you get to a point, it's like, okay, you're ready to start your rehab assignment. I was starting as a starter, with TJ's, it's usually 30 days for pitchers, but I guess if you're coming back from TJ, you can extend it all the way to 60. So we did utilize all 60 days. And up until the last 2 weeks of it, I was a starter. And it was like, hey, what do you think about, pitching out of the bullpen, maybe in a multi-inning role? Obviously being a starter had the pitch capacity to do that. I was like, yeah, whatever you guys need. So got back with the team. Our starters were doing so well last year that, a lot of those multi-inning opportunities never really came. So it turned into some leverage, high leverage 1-inning opportunities. Here you go, come into a late game situation, get some good hitters out, and hold a lead for us. And I kind of took it and just ran with it, embraced the opportunity.
Did you approach it differently, or was it a change in mentality for you, or just?
Yeah, I think as a reliever, you just go out there and try to be as aggressive as you can right away. Not that you're not doing that as a starter, but you only got so many pitches to work with as a reliever, and you get a late lead or something, you want to hold it right there and shut the door right there. So I think for me, coming in there with an aggressive mentality, attacking guys, getting ahead in counts, that was, and not to mention the adrenaline boost that comes with that.
You're in it.
Yeah, you come in high leverage opportunities. A postseason push down the stretch and then pitching in the playoffs too is something else. But yeah, it's you condense a lot of the physical routine because you want to feel fresh going into each outing. You don't want to be doing too much that you kind of wear yourself out by the time you get to game time. So I think subtracting some of the things I was doing as a starter, and realizing that, hey, you go out there, your body's prepared, your mind's prepared, just go out there and trust your stuff.
Was there anything you took from last season that you brought into this offseason that were some of your goals, and just getting ready for the 2025 year? What were some of the things that you focused on this past offseason?
Yeah, so so kind of throughout last year and then kind of into this offseason, I wanted to expand the pitch repertoire a little bit. The four seam, the kind of bigger slider, and the changeup I had last year worked well. I implemented a sinker kind of throughout my rehab assignment last year, but being in the bullpen, I just didn't use it that much, and you don't face that many. More of a left option that you don't face that many lefties. But yeah, that's something I wanted to bring back and utilize a little bit more, kind of focus on this off season, and then also having the bigger slider. Kind of wanted a smaller slider to kind of bridge the gap between the fastballs and the big slider to maybe help any platoon differences, or help some swing and miss against right-handed hitters and whatnot. So excited to see how it all plays out. And then from a mentality standpoint, I think just wasn't necessarily a change, but just a continuation of staying aggressive, of attacking guys. I wanted to, whatever capacity, whatever role I was pitching in coming into this year, I wanted to keep that same mindset that I had as a reliever.
So you were building up the repertoire, all of his different pitch arsenals.
Mm-hmm.
So how's that been? We're in Arizona right now, so you're in spring training. How's it been taking that so far into spring training, and just kind of give for the people that might be interested in how spring training's been going for you and also the team?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so spring is an interesting time. You got some guys that are established veterans coming in. They know they have a spot on the team. They're coming in. It's a build up. It's a progression. It's a progression for everybody. But obviously, I've been in a situation where I'm fighting for a roster spot. Most seasons, and you kind of come in. You come in ready to go as soon as you get there, ready to get hitters out, ready to compete at a high level, just as you would in any other regular season game. So it's a little bit of a different mindset. But for me, coming in there, first and foremost, just health. Obviously, coming off a year where I wasn't healthy at this time last year, coming in, I never take the health for granted. So coming in healthy this year was important. And then for me, building back up as a starter. So building the pitch capacity early in the off season, the throwing volume, so I could come in here, have the foundation, to throw longer outings and stretch it out a little bit. But with the pitch types and facing lineups again, it's been fun. It's always fun to get in game action again.
You've been starting too, right?
I've been starting.
Nice.
been going multiple innings now, built up to about 65 to 70 pitches at the moment. So it's been really good. It's been great to kind of see the pitch arsenal play out against lefties, against righties, turning lineups over, facing them more than once again. I like relieving, but
cool,
I like starting too.
Spring training is nice because you can see what's working, what's not, and make those adjustments before it really matters once the season starts. So.
Oh, 100%. You can kind of fine tune, against certain hitters, what sequences you want to do, kind of how you want to use stuff.
How you'll approach it.
Exactly.
Dope. So I like to end the show with 2 quick questions. He doesn't know any of these, though, so I think you'll do pretty well. Though. Right. I'm interested to see the first answer.
Let's do it.
All right. So I like to ask everyone who comes on the show who your top 5 players are. That could be – it's more like if you were to go back in time when you were a kid, who were the top 5 players that you looked up to, or that – doesn't have to be 5, but inspired you, or that you took a lot of inspiration from.
Okay.
Or that even just how you –
past and present.
You could do present too, so.
Okay. It's kind of conflicting here. My first one, growing up in the Bay Area, has got to be Barry Bonds.
That's everyone's answer,
I just
bro.
think his best, steroids aside, I still think
it's undoubtable.
From a pure hitting standpoint, best hitter of all time. And growing up as a fan of the team, someone that I watched a lot. The other side of it, Clayton Kershaw, a Dodger pitcher. Being left-handed, I just like the way he went about his business, on and off the field. Obviously, the success in the career speak for itself. So that's a guy I watched a lot as well. Ooh, this is let's see, a couple, probably mostly left-handed pitchers. I'll say Barry Zito as well.
Dope.
Obviously, Oakland A's, another Bay Area guy. Pitched for the Giants as well.
Big curveball.
Big curveball. Didn't necessarily blow you away with velocity, but knew how to pitch. Had good stuff. Makes pitch as well. So that's something I think every lefty.
Yeah, they all have seen it.
Every lefty, has seen the curveball and kind of wants to emulate that. Let's see. Oh,
you could do 2 current too if you're struggling.
Okay. Actually, it's kind of funny about this one. So John Lester, another Bulldog lefty. I have 5 career at bats in the big leagues. My first 2 at bats were against my first 2 career at bats in the big leagues are John Lester. So I'll never forget that.
I need to see the clips. You actually hit in the league?
Oh, boy.
I need to see this.
Boy.
We got to pull it up.
Yeah. I didn't embarrass myself.
I need to see
I didn't
this.
embarrass
I need
myself,
to see
thankfully,
it.
but I don't have a hit to my name, so I'll say that.
it.
But John Lester aside, Bulldog, watching him with the Red Sox, with the Cubs, like really, really good stuff. Knew how to pitching really, really big games as well. A lot of big game experience. So that's
can't pick off the first stuff.
Yeah. My pickoff's not great either. Last one, I'll go with our guy Bobby Witt Jr.
Okay.
Obviously the talent speaks for itself, but he's one of a kind guy, and I think he has the potential to be one of the best to ever play. Given he can do anything on a baseball field, all 5 tools, 6 tools if you include the mental side of it. But yeah, just the type of guy you want leading a franchise. So.
What separates him, you think, other than obviously the playing ability? But that stands out to you about him.
Yeah, I think the humility. I think him being so down to earth, being such a great teammate. When you have all the talent in the world, you kind of have the excuse to be, a little arrogant.
You got
about
that confidence.
Exactly, yeah. But he's not that way. He plays with the confidence, but not in the sense of like showing up anybody. He respects his opponents, his teammates. His teammates love him. So, he's a guy that's going to have a great career.
All right, one last question. If you were to talk to your younger self or a young kid out there that's just looking to take their game to the next level, what's one piece of advice that you would give them, and just something maybe that you wish you had known when you were younger?
Yeah, in this digital media era. I will say social media era, if you want to go like that. I had to
living
that
in day.
In the social media era we're in, there's so much. There are a lot of distractions. There's a lot of highlight clips. There's a lot of
it's a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. There's indoor facilities that guys are pitchers are ripping bullpens, or hitters are doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So I think don't compare yourself to that. Like don't worry about kind of what other kids are doing at your age. Don't worry about like recruiting and all these rankings and stuff like that. I think there's a lot of pressure. Kids place, kids and coaches and whatnot place kind of unnecessary pressure on individuals in their, travel teams or little league teams or whatever, even high school teams to kind of, play like big leaguers. Yeah, sure, you want to act like a big leaguer, and but at the same time, you got to understand that you're still playing the game to have fun, enjoy it with your friends. The physical development will come. It comes at a different time for everybody. I've never been the most athletic myself. Going through high school, hit like a growth spurt when I got kind of halfway through high school. So, the velocity for pitching and the strength for hitting and whatnot, it comes at different times for everybody. So don't compare yourself to these rankings and recruiting stuff and all these, to be honest, like distractions, because your path is unique. Just keep your head down, keep working. Just find ways to get better every day.
Keep working. I like that.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So that's the end of the show. Shout out my guy Kris Bubic. Had to come through. What do you think of the place?
Oh, this is insane. As soon as I walked in here, seeing just how big it was, a lot of great amenities here. This is a one-of-a-kind crib.
Yes, sir. Thanks for tuning in. Shout out Kris Bubic. Big things coming from my guy. Let's get it.